Welcome to this edition of The Forum. I'm your host, Sheila Evans. We have a great show in store for you today with an incredible lineup of guests. It's tradition to kick off our season by highlighting the 3 New Hanover County Schools Teachers of the Year, and we continue that tradition today. We sit down with each one and learn a little bit about their background and teaching methods. Our first guest is the New Hanover County Teacher of the Year winner, Christy Howe. She's a gifted education specialist at Bradley Creek Elementary. Then we feature the High School Teacher of the Year, Catherine Coleman. She is an English teacher at Hoggard High. And finally, Carrie Lober, the band teacher at Trask, joins us. She is the Middle School Teacher of the Year for New Hanover County. It's an exciting start to our season with 3 wonderful teachers, and we'll get started right after this short break.
Start your day with New Hanover County Schools, the morning show. This Rise and Shine program will put a smile on your face and a spring in your step. Best of all, you'll start the day a little smarter, knowing more about our district leaders and teachers, discovering new frontiers in science and technology, and getting the latest school news from across the district. New Hanover County Schools, the morning show, educating all viewers to achieve today and tomorrow in a global community. Only on this channel.
My next guest is the New Hanover County Teacher of the Year, Christy Howe, and she is a gifted education specialist. First of all, tell us the impact being named Teacher of the Year has had for you.
It has been a tremendous and wonderful opportunity, personally and professionally. Going through the process, being Teacher of the Year has allowed me to reflect on myself as an educator and my purpose. And it has helped me to clarify my goals for myself and my students. So I think that that has helped me be more purposeful in the way that I teach and approach education. It has also provided opportunities for me to connect with educators across diverse networks.
Nice.
So moving beyond just my school and the district across the state. And I think anytime we have the chance to connect and collaborate with others, we open ourselves to new ideas, and that makes us better.
A lot of value in that. Why become a teacher?
So when I was growing up, my brother and I went to the same school, kindergarten through 8th grade.
Okay.
And I had this tremendously positive experience. I loved my teachers, I loved learning. I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I left school. And my brother had this really awful experience, socially, emotionally, academically. And I was just intrigued by how one school could function so differently for 2 people. And so really early on, that begged the question for me, how do we make schools work for all kids? And that's really the question that still drives me today.
Okay. And it's my understanding that you want to kind of take your message or at least visit other schools. Fill us in on what your thought process is there.
Yeah, so as representative for New Hanover County Schools and representing the teachers across the county, I think it's very important that I understand all the schools in the county. There are some schools I'm quite familiar with and some that I know very little about. And so I'd like to do site visits, have a chance to spend time in the schools in the fall and again in the spring so that I can build a better understanding of the strengths that each school brings. I think it's also an opportunity for me to connect with teachers across the county, to build those relationships and to kind of leverage the collective talents and strengths that we have as teachers.
And how would you use your voice representing the other teachers on a larger level?
I think there are going to be some formal opportunities for me to do that, and I think that it will be very important that I understand the strengths and the needs of the teachers across the county. I also think that the informal opportunities for me to use my voice and to help other teachers use their voice is very powerful. One of the things I began this fall is I've actually started a collaborative blog. It's written for teachers, by teachers, with the goal of amplifying the voices of other teachers in the county, letting teachers know that they have a voice, that it matters, people want to hear it, and what they say makes a difference.
And you think that will encourage teachers to use their voice?
I hope so. I think for so long, I felt like I didn't have a voice. I had all these ideas, all these passionate ideas, but I didn't necessarily think anybody wanted to hear them. Part of being New Hanover County Teacher of the Year has given me more confidence in sharing the things that I truly believe. And it makes me realize that all teachers have this same opportunity. You do not have to be a Teacher of the Year to have your voice matter.
Sure. Now, how do you stay current on best practices? I know you talked about some collaboration in the blog. Anything else that keeps you busy?
Yes, I think just what you described, surrounding yourself with smart, innovative, motivated people, I think that's one of the best ways to stay inspired and current. I'm also a huge fan of using social media, particularly Twitter, as a professional learning network. I think that is a great way to expose yourself to ideas beyond just your school, your district, and your state, and to network and collaborate with a broader audience. And I also love to read. I bring a book with me everywhere, constantly reading about new things in education.
And do you think all these things are important to you as a teacher?
Absolutely. I think for a couple reasons. One, it keeps me current on next practices. But I think also it models learning for my students. They know that I'm constantly reading. There's a sign outside my door that says, "This is what I'm reading." And so they really see that learning is a lifelong pursuit, not something that you do from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, but something that can really empower you your whole life.
So should you move on to North Carolina Teacher of the Year, what would your message be?
I think teachers are the greatest lever of change, even though not all teachers realize that. And I think that we are in a unique place where we can truly reimagine what's possible in education. Our world is changing so quickly on a large scale and at an increasingly rapid rate all the time. We need to create adaptable learners with a very diverse skill set. And so we're going to need to change the way that we're providing experiences in teaching and learning. And I think teachers are just the people to do that, because we are on the ground in the classroom every day. We work with students every day. Every time we interact with students, it's a possibility to recreate experiences for them and to help change their trajectory. So I think if we continue to work in innovative ways in the classroom, reimagining what's possible, thinking about opportunities as opposed to looking at hindrances, and then we work together to collectively leverage that innovation, I think that's where real change is going to come from.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Christy, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. And we'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
Get connected with your school system. Your School News covers news that matters for parents, guardians, and Greater New Hanover County. Stories about preparing students for success in a changing world. Stories where students are achievers.
Internship, we pretty much made a vehicle from spare parts, and at first we made it so it just moved, and then we made it so it was an electrical vehicle.
Stories of teaching where every child yearns to learn.
Today is all about STEAM. STEAM is kind of the key word to tying art into science, technology, engineering, and math.
Your School News brings viewers more than 8 hours of school news and information, reporting on what's happening in the district, what students are learning, how the school system operates, and beyond. Your School News, only on this channel.
I am joined by the New Hanover County Schools High School Educator of the Year, Catherine Coleman from Hoggard High School. How did you feel about being nominated for this honor by your peers, just on the school level and then, countywide?
Well, I mean, Hoggard has so many amazing teachers, so it was really flattering that I got selected. And then at the county level, I think what was so special about that is I didn't expect just how much of an honor it felt, and I just wish that every teacher could get a chance to have that experience.
All right, nice banquet and all that nice stuff, posters. Who inspired you to become a teacher?
Well, my mom was a teacher.
Oh, nice.
She was an art teacher, and I was thinking about becoming a teacher, and she said, go out there and become a substitute, and if you can handle that, then maybe you could be a teacher.
That is a rough gig. I did that for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
So was she proud when you decided to go forward?
She was. I mean, she knew how challenging it is. She was an art teacher in Wake County for many years, and I think both of my parents were pleased and proud that I became a teacher, and she knows it's a tough job.
Okay, so she was art and you were English. That's grading a lot of papers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have a daughter that's a high school English teacher. What inspired you, or what do you like about high school English?
I love writing, and I love, being able to express things through writing, and I love seeing kids find the writer and the voice that they have inside of them. So I was in advertising and journalism before I went into teaching, so I kind of brought that to the classroom, and kids just light up when they find exactly what they want to say and are able to express themselves.
Gotcha.
And I like that it's not one answer, that when we discuss a text or a topic, debate something, that every viewpoint is acceptable, and the back and forth, it's not like math. My kids love math. My son said one time he likes it, there's one right answer. But what I love about English is there's not one right answer, that you can look at the same text and see it in different ways.
Just different perspective.
Yeah.
Yep, love that too. You're also the STAY coordinator at Hoggard High School. Tell us a little bit about what that is and what your involvement is.
So the STAY program is an amazing program. It's for students who have the potential and the desire to go to four-year college, but would benefit from additional support. And sometimes that's because they're going to be the first in their family to go to college, or they don't have anybody really advising them. I got involved in that when I first started working in New Hanover County Schools. I'd replaced a teacher who had been involved in STAY, and I just fell in love with those students, their potential and their excitement, and how grateful they are for help. And it's just, when you unleash that potential and you see them go all the way and get their degree, and just the pride. I think if anybody in this county could get involved in the STAY program, it just so rewarding. The kids just blossom. Last year at Hoggard alone, our senior class was offered more than $500,000 in scholarships, and kids that never—
That's nice.
Yeah, kids that never thought they would go to college, headed off and came back just this past fall break to tell me how it's going, and I just can't think of something that's more rewarding than that.
I had the opportunity to work with those students as well, and I was always impressed, I'm going to echo what you said, about their commitment. They didn't take things for granted. They did pretty much what was asked of them. They appreciated that little bit of helping hand.
Yeah. I think the little pieces that are missing are just somebody telling them, you can do this. And the more we do that, the more they just blossom.
So, what's the biggest challenge that you face as a high school teacher?
Not having enough time in the day to do everything. And as an English teacher, you mentioned the grading. I mean, I'm up hours and hours trying to grade papers and give feedback that I know is really important. And then beyond just my classroom, all the things I want to be involved in and help students, and there's just not enough time to do everything.
So what would you share with folks just about teaching high school in general?
I think teaching is just the most rewarding thing that I could be doing with my life. But I would want people to know that that there's a lot of things that, just even if you're not a teacher, that you could be doing to support our schools and to become involved, and it would just pay them back, at huge levels.
Can you share some of those ideas with us?
Well, I mean, we're always hungry for volunteers.
Okay.
People that could come in and mentor students. Just come in and talk to them about the career that you chose. With my STAY students, a lot of them don't have the exposure to a lot of different careers. They don't know what all is out there. I've had students that I've placed in internships with a local surgeon in town, and just for them to see all the different aspects, not just the position of
Right.
being a surgeon, but all the things, the different careers that they could be involved in. I think that being involved in schools, whether you have a child at that school, whether you have children in schools at all, it just benefits our whole community when we educate students. They come back and they just do great things here.
Tell us about maybe one student that sticks out in your mind.
Well, I was just thinking about my student from last year. I was working with the senior stay class, and I came in September, and I had one student I was so excited to help because she was a straight A student. She'd made A's all throughout. And in fact, she wasn't in stay taking honors classes in the beginning because she didn't know that she was an honors level student. And we found her and we said, you need to be in honors. And we put her in honors classes and AP, the college level classes, and she still made straight A's.
Nice.
So I was so excited to see where she would get into school and what scholarships we might be able to find for her. And I came in September and I asked her how it was going, and she started to cry. And I didn't know what was going on, and it had been announced that day that the president was looking to cut the program for DACA for students who had
gotcha.
come here as children. And I was so concerned for her. She wanted to go into medicine, be either a doctor or a nurse. And I contacted probably 100 schools, colleges, looking for a program for her. And she ended up getting a scholarship called the Golden Door Scholarship.
Excellent.
And that was a full ride. She's at Wingate University working on her degree towards nursing.
Nice.
And I just think, it doesn't benefit anybody not to educate a bright, wonderful student like that who wants to
Sure.
serve. So,
Well, Ms. Coleman, thank you so much for your efforts, especially in her case. And we'll be back in just a few minutes, right after these messages.
Your company can join these local businesses in offering students with disabilities the much-needed experience to compete in today's job market.
To see the kids every day come in and certainly have a sense of accomplishment and get to do a job well done, it's very enriching to not only the kids but also to all of us around here.
For young people with disabilities, participating in mentoring programs, job shadowing, and internships are great ways to make them stand out among other job applicants.
I'd say it's kind of a win-win. I mean, not only are you doing the right thing for the community and these kids, but you're also allowing them to grow and get the skills necessary to be successful in the future.
Internships serve as skill-building tools for students to obtain vital career development. If your business would like more information on how it can benefit from adding a student intern from New Hanover County Schools to its roster, please contact the Special Education Department now at 254-4445.
They're doing a fantastic job and we couldn't be happier.
I am joined by Carrie Lober, and she was the New Hanover County Schools Middle School Teacher of the Year. She is a band teacher from Trask Middle School. Tell us, why did you choose to become a teacher?
Well, I think it was a part of who I was growing up. My mom was a teacher, and so in our household, school was so important. It was such a special part of the day, of the year. Our whole family, I mean, I guess for most families it does center around it, but our whole family centered around it. And I saw the joy that it brought her.
Nice.
And I remember being in 7th grade and sitting in my band classroom. I remember what the classroom looked like, and thinking to myself, I think I want to do this. I want to be in band all day, every day. And sometimes I have kids say in my classroom, I love this class. I don't want to leave this class. And I say, I used to say that too. And look at me now.
Nice. Very good. Why did you choose New Hanover County Schools?
Well, I came to college at UNCW,
Okay.
and I wasn't really familiar with the Wilmington area at that point. I grew up in New Bern. And I didn't want to be too far from home, and I loved UNCW. And as I got to know the area and the way that people are in New Hanover County and the community, and once I got into the school system with my internship, I realized just how much it was a great place to work and to be. So
Where did you intern?
I interned at Myrtle Grove Middle School.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you were talking about how some kids say they want to stay in your classroom all day. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's big and it's loud and it's busy. Which
Sounds about right.
would be expected for a band classroom. I try really hard to let them have ownership in what we're doing, which is kind of difficult when there's a classroom full of 12 and 13-year-olds with loud musical instruments. But I've figured it out, and I managed to make it so where they get to communicate with each other and help each other. So they're looking to me for answers, but they're also taking ownership in their own learning. And it's becomes like a giant group project. If somebody doesn't know how to finger an F sharp, they turn to their neighbor, and they get to look at their neighbor because they're working as a team, which is really fun and neat.
Nice. What would be one piece of advice you would give new students?
I have this poster taped to my music stand that sits in the front of the classroom so all the students can see it all the time.
Whether they want to see it or not.
Whether they want to see it or not. And sometimes, sometimes I just point to it. And the quote says, "It's not hard, it's just new. Practice makes it not new."
Oh.
And so I have
that's good, Carrie.
sometimes when kids have something that's difficult, or when they're in 6th grade and they're learning to play an instrument for the very first
Right.
time, it is hard. It comes out, the first sounds that come out usually are not what they expect it to sound like.
Yep.
Because they've listened to recordings and seen YouTube videos. And when I tell them, it's not hard, it's just new. You have to make it not new. And I hear them sometimes say it to each other when somebody's complaining about something being hard, and they really do rise to the occasion when they see it's just new.
Nice.
You just gotta practice.
How about a piece of advice for new teachers?
This is my favorite thing someone told me, and I just keep passing it along. There's some article floating around on the internet that talks about, as a teacher, as an educator in the public school system, finding your marigold, which is an interesting way to put it. But it's finding the people around you who you can companion plant. Like, if anybody's familiar with gardening, they may know that when you plant your tomato plants, if you plant marigolds around your tomato plants, the marigolds actually help the tomato plants. They act as a natural pesticide.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
And so if you plant yourself around marigolds and other people who will lift you up and help you if you're having a bad day and have a positive attitude and be excited about teaching and learning new things and bettering yourself as a teacher, planting yourself around marigolds and finding those marigolds around you will just make teaching fun all the time.
Very good. What is your favorite part about teaching band?
I was talking about those 6th graders and the first sounds that come out of their instruments and how they're
Painful.
sometimes they know it too. But
I had those sounds in my house once.
You did.
Go in the garage and practice.
They say that their parents say that, but I know in the beginning it's very difficult and it's brand new and they can play 3 notes after a month, and then you look at how far they progress from 6th grade to 8th grade, where they're not just playing notes and they can't just play their instrument, but they're working together and they're making music, and they're making music with other students who they may not necessarily come in contact with. It's usually such a diverse group of kids. It's beautiful. It really is.
It's a family.
It is a family.
I always said that about band. It's a family. You have to all work together, whether you want to or not, because the collective piece, is what you play.
It is, and they're learning so many skills that they're going to need as adults. You're sometimes going to have to work together with someone who you may think is difficult or who you don't get along with.
You are absolutely right.
But everybody has to work together to make this beautiful final product. So
I totally agree.
So fun.
What is the most exciting thing about being New Hanover County Schools Middle Teacher of the Year? Middle School Teacher of the Year?
Well, it was all pretty exciting and flattering. But I think the coolest thing about it is that I feel really excited that New Hanover County Schools is the kind of place that would name an arts teacher Teacher of the Year. I know there are a lot of places that maybe don't have the kind of appreciation for the arts that our community does. And it's really exciting that they see the value in a musical education for kids enough to pick a band teacher to be the Teacher of the Year for middle school.
Nice. Well, Carrie, I think there's some lucky kids at Trask Middle School. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing that information with us, and we'll be back in a few minutes right after these messages.
Global 3000, a DW production. Little things can have a huge impact throughout the world. The Globalization Magazine, Global 3000.
We hope you've enjoyed our program today, and we congratulate all our New Hanover County Schools Educators of the Year. Now, if you ever have any questions about the topics that we discussed here on the show today, please call the school system's Public Relations Office at 254-4180 or check out the school system's website at www.nhcs.net. I'm Sheila Evans, and thanks for joining me today.